Brethren, brothers, comrades, fellow Ugandans, welcome to today's conversation. I really like it whenever I see scenes of protest. So that clip that was shown is very heartwarming to me because that is what we need to be doing. You know, as we head toward the election, the military dictatorship of General Museveni and his son, General Muhoozi, what they're trying to do is escalate terror. So we have a full-scale terror regime right now. The daily kidnappings, the torture, the disappearance. We don't know who is being killed. So that's one part. But the other half is also full-scale diplomacy. Because what regime wants is that when it steals the election in January, it wants international acceptability. And that is why the regime was reaching out to the United States and saying they were willing to accept Kilma Abrego Garcia, the individual that the United States wanted to expel. So the Museveni dictatorship reached out to the US and said, we will take Abrego. So what should we be doing as Ugandans who want to make sure that even if he steals the elections in January, which we know is what he plans to do, we will make it impossible for him to survive. We will make it impossible for him to be embraced by the international community because that's what he wants. And that's why he wanted to take Abrego so he could build that special relationship with the United States and say, US, go easy on me, let me just be, don't be too harsh. After all, I am accepting the people that you are deporting from the United States. I do not think it was a coincidence that ultimately Abrego was not sent to Uganda. Because what did some of us start doing? We started tweeting, posting on X, all these images of the brutality of the regime, the torture, the kidnappings, and all of this has been well documented, which is good for us, the side that is determined for national liberation. So we started tweeting images from prominent publications, the Times of London, where you have Muhoozi, General Muhoozi, boasting of torturing Eddie Mutwe on the front page of the Times of London. So we put that image, we put the image of the victim Kakwenza. All of you are familiar with that very famous picture, infamous picture of his back completely ripped up after a session of torture with Muhoozi. So those are the kind of images we attach together and we would send it out and we would say, US, is this where you're really going to deport Abrego? So forget the whole process about legitimacy or illegitimacy of deporting Abrego. We wanted to take advantage of that situation to highlight what was going on in Uganda. And since there was major media interest in Abrego, by extension, they have to see what was going on in Uganda. We think that was very effective. We think that played a role in ultimately the United States deciding not to send Abrego to Uganda. And in the process of doing that over a period of 2 weeks or so, we got to highlight what dictator Museveni was doing in Uganda. So what am I suggesting? I'm suggesting that whenever the dictatorship tries any diplomatic maneuver, we should introduce all these images, all these narratives, all these accounts of brutality and pair it together with whatever diplomacy that he's trying to do. So right now, what he's trying to do is the Joseph Kony situation, right? You're seeing these judges coming from The Hague. They've been visiting Uganda. There's been media coverage, and it's on Joseph Kony. So I suggest that we join in doing what I have been doing since this story became a major item, let's say about a week ago. I started questioning them. I said, ICC, if you're really interested injustice for Ugandans. You really care about human rights. Why are you focusing only on Joseph Kony? When in fact, when you judges are visiting Uganda, those very same days that you are staying in Uganda, people are being tortured by this regime, people are being kidnapped, people are being killed. The regime is committing the same crimes for which you are now trying Joseph Kony. How can anybody take you seriously if you pretend that you are not aware of what is going on in Uganda when it is being covered by media? So we pair that together. And I think if we use that strategy consistently and embarrass these judges of the International Criminal Court, it will be very difficult for them to ignore what we are saying. Just as it became very difficult for the United States to ignore the fact that there's ongoing human rights abuses in Uganda. Obviously, the US is aware of that. In fact, before Marco Rubio became Secretary of State, and you can go back and look at his tweets, he tweeted, it might have been maybe 2-3 years ago, that the Ugandan regime, the dictatorship in Uganda, I don't know if he used those words exactly, but saying the Ugandan regime is trying to pair up with China. And of course, he's hostile toward that. So he has a reputation of already knowing what is going on in Uganda. So they were pretending they didn't know so that they could send Abrego to Uganda. But once you publicize it and you let everybody know about it, it makes it very difficult for them to pretend they do not know. And from now until January, that needs to be our #1 priority. And we have many resources that we can use. Let's use the same ones that we know will resonate. So the image of Muhoozi on the front page of the Times of London boasting of torturing Mutwe, we must always use that. The image of the wounds, the ugly wounds that Kakwenza suffered at the hands of Muhoozi, we must use that as well. Whichever newspaper covered it, whether it was covered in The Guardian, the New York Times, the BBC, Al Jazeera, the Washington Post, and all of them covered it. Let's make sure we capture a screenshot. And also, if we can take the link from the article itself, if it's too long, use tiny URL to make it shorter. And then when you post it, make sure you tag all the international key players that Museveni wants to build a cordial relationship with. So you obviously want the US president, you want the White House, you want the spokesperson of the US president, you want Marco Rubio, you want the British Prime Minister, you want the British Foreign Secretary, you want the German Chancellor, you always want the International Criminal Court. So you have to go and look at their Twitter handles and make sure you include it in all these tweets. You want Amnesty International, you want Human Rights Watch, and you want Total Energy. Always make sure you include Total Energy and the Twitter handle of the CEO of Total Energy. His name is Patrick Pouyan. So you can look up his Twitter handle and make sure you always include that as well. All of these are going to help us in isolating dictator Museveni. He's trying to reach out for purpose. He wants to build that relationship. So it must be our mission to isolate him and make it impossible for him to build that relationship. That is the most important thing that I wanted to bring out today. I think the Abrego situation was a huge success for us. And now we must focus on the Joseph Kony situation. We're not saying that Joseph Kony does not deserve to be tried for the crimes that he has committed. We should not say that, because then they're able to put you in a box and say, oh, you don't care about human rights for victims in Uganda. We're saying, no, in fact, we do care about human rights for victims in Uganda. That is why we're demanding that in addition to Joseph Kony, you must also indict Muhoozi, you must also indict Museveni, and try them not only for the historical crimes that they've committed, but the crimes that they continue to commit on a daily basis in Uganda. Otherwise, people will say, ICC, you're hypocrites. You really don't care about human rights at all. You're just fulfilling Museveni's public relations agenda. Whether you are planning it together or not, whether it's just a coincidence, it amounts to the same thing. You cannot convince me that you care about human rights by only going after Joseph Kony while forgetting about the people who are committing human rights today. In fact, as many people in Uganda believe, Joseph Kony was partially helped by Museveni in any case. Joseph Kony was the other side of the coin because Museveni needed Joseph Kony to be around to legitimize the genocide campaign, which he had launched against the people in northern Uganda, number one. Number two, he needed Joseph Kony to exist in order for him to be able to get weapons from international community and to also get financial support. So let me just look at my notes to make sure I did not leave anything out, any point that I wanted to make. Okay, there are 3 or 4 other points I wanted to make. Make sure you also use clips from the documentary film, Bobi Wine, The People's President, because that film got a lot of international coverage after it was nominated for the Oscar last year. So try to use a clip from that. That's available if you go to YouTube, use that. Make sure you use clips from A Brilliant Genocide, because the good thing with A Brilliant Genocide, it even has people like Minister Mao. At that time, of course, he was not a minister in the government. You have Mao condemning Museveni for atrocities that he's committing in the northern part of Uganda. So get that clip as well, and make sure you do that. Now, we need to build a relationship with our sisters and brothers in Kenya. The Kenyans have been very effective in mobilizing the youth, which we have also been able to do. But we have to escalate ours to the level that the Kenyans are doing, number one. Number two, we are also going to need our Kenyan sisters and brothers. Because remember, Uganda cannot survive without Kenya. Most of the business that Uganda transacts with the rest of the world comes through Kenya. So we need to team up with our youth sisters and brothers in Kenya for them to see our struggle in Uganda as part of their struggle as well. So that after he steals the elections, if we mount a campaign where we need our sisters and brothers in Kenya to come to our help, we already would have built that relationship by that time. Let's not wait until January. So sometimes when the Kenyans go on spaces on X, I join in, I listen to their conversations, I text my contribution sometimes. I suggest we do more of that. And we also invite our Kenyan sisters and brothers, and our Tanzanian sisters and brothers, by the way, invite them to join our conversations as well. Let me just look very quickly through my notes. I think I'm almost done. Okay, one final point. We know that this president of the United States, he cares about a transactional type of foreign policy. What is in it for the United States? What is in it for this president himself? So right now, his focus on East Central Africa has been on the resources in Eastern Congo. And that is the reason why the US is now involved in trying to end the conflict, between Rwanda and Congo. Primarily, we know it's because of the resources of Congo. The US wants access to that for US companies. So long as he is president of the United States, we have to also see how we can fit our struggle within that model. So obviously, we can't have a ruthless dictatorship like General Museveni and the crimes that he's committing in Uganda, and the possibility that all of that is going to spill into that region. So now we are portraying Museveni, which is 100% correct, as somebody who is going to disrupt the possibility of this peace process going forward between Rwanda and Congo, because you need peace in that region for anybody to be able to use the resources in Eastern Congo. So now we must present Museveni clearly as a threat to that peace, which is required for anybody to do business in Eastern Congo. So that's the final point I wanted to make. Now I am ready to open it up to conversation. Thank you, sisters and brothers.
Thank you so much, Professor. Guys, I hope you're sharing the meeting to our brothers and sisters so they can join. However, we are streaming live on Facebook. So if you see a message saying the meeting is going to the third party, don't fret, it's going to Facebook. Yes, guys, I hope you're tweeting. I was trying to do some tweets and sharing the page as Professor was going. Oh my God. Yeah. So I hope you guys are going to respond to the tweets. Yes, please fire away, guys. Your Professor is here with us for a short time. Please do grab the mic and then let's have that conversation. Thank you. The mic is out. Yes, I've put the mic out there. Yes, Official Yukenuk, good to see you. Did you want to have a few words? Thank you. Yeah, guys, the mic, I'll put the mic out for you. Thank you. Yes, James.
Yes.
There you are. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good, Lucas. I've just woken up. It's getting America is getting very cold. I was listening to Professor, and well, I think the verdict, if you went by social media, you could see that all Ugandans are telling you that Kony is Museveni. Yes, that was a verdict, and if these fellas are seeing and listening, I mean, why are they not listening to us? Because if social media is taken as a media for communication, I didn't see anyone post anything negative about Kony. So it's just enough information out there to show that Kony is Museveni. Apparently, I worked in northern Uganda during the insurgency. I was working with the people in the displaced camps. Mm. You can't believe it that on one-to-one, the people you talk to, the people I talk to will tell you that Museveni is the one killing us. These people who come here speak.
Absolutely.
They don't speak the language we understand. They speak something close, something in the West. All Uganda. At least I managed even to keep some of the children from the displaced camps in my own home. And I will tell you the truth. So I don't know how we can galvanize on this now. Professor, I have a feeling, I don't know whether we can have a set of Ugandans to go and meet this so-called lawyers or judges in the criminal court. Are they able to listen to us one-to-one, one-on-one? I mean, I'm just wondering if it is possible to have somebody to meet these people and talk to them. And Professor, the other thing that an event that has occurred in America is the killing of this young man. It is a turning point that if Ugandans can take advantage, because for them, one death has paralyzed America. And for us to tell them about death in Uganda, they don't listen. Right. They don't care. Actually, Professor, if you saw, I have been telling you this every day. The U.S. Embassy posts more about Uganda than they post about the U.S. here. The U.S. Embassy in Kampala is almost a PR, doing a PR for Uganda. They're in the north, they're everywhere. The U.S. ambassador almost acts like an RDC. And so in this tough moment right now, I think we need to stick out as Ugandans, because the verdict is very clear. Ugandans know who is killing. Kony, long time since, you don't even hear anything, but that process is alive and clear. The abductions are ongoing. Right. So we need, my interest is how do we get, I wish I could even be part of the team that can join and say we're going to meet these judges. I mean, we need to have a one-on-one with them and tell them, look here, we are not just going to be on the streets every day and these fellas don't listen to us. We're not going to, the social media soon will be cut off, but any serious data
Right.
collector should see that Museveni has been indicted by people.
Right. Okay.
Yes,
So,
that's my input, Professor. Thank you.
no. This is a very valuable contribution. And given your historical knowledge on the scene, engagement with what was going on in the northern part of Uganda, I would strongly suggest that you write an article about this matter, because it starts and it builds up. But in order for it to build up, we have to do things one step at a time. And it does build up, it does accumulate. I strongly recommend an article that captures the essence of what you just said right now. And by the way, this kind of engagement, which is being recorded, this should be made available to the ICC as well. You write an article, and also in the next few weeks, because I also do have a radio show on WBAI radio in New York City. And the radio show, in addition to being an FM station, it is also beamed online. It is live streamed. So